Oh, love of my life, that's what you mean to me. My sweetness delight, you belong to me. As years come and go, the fucking closer we'll grow. I put that bit in myself, 'cause you'll always be the love of my life. Oh, ooh. Name that tune. The Dooleys from 77, or was it 78? I always fancied Anne Dooley. She was the toothy one, usually on the left of the screen. I said it to my wife recently. I said, this is the Dooleys here. And I said, I fancied Anne. And she said, her? And I said, yeah, she's red hair in that video, but she had dark hair in the first one, and I liked her in that one. She went a bit 80s with the red hair. So I just thought I'd share that with you. How are you? Are you good? I showed up like a bad penny because I didn't really want to show up. Look, these are, got a load of them. My wife gave me a load of these incense sticks. Isn't that exciting? She came in the door and she's about, I got about 6 boxes of them. I said, that's lovely, darling. And she said, yeah, that's for staying off the drink, which I pretty much have done. Now, I've had the odd glass, even in her company. I've said I'm having one and I leave it at one. So that was it. So good things come to those who restrain themselves. I have just been out with the aforementioned lady in my life, and we went all around Blackrock and whatever, down the coast here. We're so lucky to live where we live. It's just beautiful. Very blustery out, lots of leaves blowing around the place. I kind of like that, but I have to admit, I felt kind of creaky. Now maybe my wife doesn't do age, and she says it to me. I don't know what you're on about. I said I'm 61 and I'm feeling it. She says, doesn't matter. She says, that's not old. Like she said to me, I don't do age. And she doesn't mentally. She doesn't do age. And I'm kind of going, well, you can delude yourself if you want, but we're getting on. But she doesn't see life like that. She sees it from day to day. In the weather outside anyway, I love all that blustery thing. I like being cozy. Because in the 70s, I was well looked after as a kid. We grew up in a very interesting place to be a kid. And on wintry nights, my mother, God rest her, and my father provided us with love and comfort and shelter and sandwiches when the TV would be on Saturday nights in the 70s. Do you remember? Yeah. Doctor Who, The Generation Game. Classic stuff, really. Not to be compared with the... Oh, I know. You see, anytime I say that, you set yourself up for just sounding like an old, but by God, the standards are... Yeah. And you see, your parents before you would have thought the same thing. I mean, they'd see the glitter band or whatever, the Sweet or whatever, a Slade I'd be looking at on TV, and they'd be shaking their heads going, give me the good old Rudy Valley days, or at least Elvis days. Which I saw a documentary on Elvis yesterday, the 68 comeback. I loved him. Oh, God, I just fucking love Elvis Presley. I don't care. He had his faults and he was very human, but God, he was. On his tomb, it says he was a gift from God, and he was. I mean, he just lit up the place. He had his charisma. And it was the time of the black leather gear and he making the comeback, and God, it was like a Greek god or something. Man crush, not even that. It was like in awe of just this talent, and very humble with it as well. He had this thing, hadn't he? He'd never lost the run of himself, as we'd say here. He never forgot the fans, or he was respectful to pretty much everybody. Now, he had a temper by his own admittance, but you had to push him there. But it was very sad that he had this big chunk of his career wasted on bubblegum trash movies. And yet he would be the highest paid star in Hollywood. At that point, you know, every Elvis Presley film pretty much, apart from the last few, they all made big money. And they discovered that, you know, with a very simple formula of half-naked ladies and Elvis being Elvis, it worked. It put bums on seats, And they also further discovered that, you know what, we're making so much money, we don't really have to worry about the production anymore. We can lower costs on that and make even more money. Now, he was in the middle of this maelstrom and he was going, Jesus, stop going on about Elvis, Mark. I know, I'm tired. I'm fucking tired. I can go to bed for 11 hours and 10 hours. I do sometimes at the weekend. I get into bed at midnight and knock it up till 11. Or even before sometimes. And I can be still tired. That's why you see me do a lot of this. Don't I do a lot of that? There's a handful of people that watch me. Which reminds me, have to speak about Scary Era because it's going from strength to strength. I'm enjoying it. It keeps me going. It has a momentum. Scary Era, for those of you who don't know, is my Irish-based paranormal podcast. Now, it's getting a little bit international because if the Irish people don't approach me with stories, other people are. So we've already had Billy Kirkwood, the Scottish comedian, on, and in the last 2 nights I made contact with another author who had a nice little story for me about Glasgow. Last night I was editing Irish school teacher, but he's a great writer for children. He's done a book called Haunted Ireland, an atlas of ghost stories for 32 counties. Each county has a ghost or paranormal story. Everything was there: lakes, castles, stately homes, banshees, poltergeists, monsters, oh my, all in the mix. Very enjoyable. Lovely man to talk to. What's his name, Mark? Kieran Fanning. So hello to him. That'll be going out in show number 4, which is in not tomorrow, but in a week's time. So I think it's around December the 2nd. It goes out in conjunction with Lucas Balls, who I've mentioned before, named after a drink, part of the big drinks company, well, related to the family. Very interesting guy, film director, has a lovely ghostly story to relate about the Dutch-Belgian border and a haunted house there, a paranormal house. So you're saying, shove your paranormal up your paranormal. I can understand that. But for me, it's proof that, you know, conceiving something is no good. Putting it into action, like anything apparently, stuff starts to happen around it. But nothing comes from nothing. What is your life like? Why don't you share it with me, for the love of God? I'm not going to make these fucking videos anymore. I'm tired of them. If you want to contact me, it's this much is true at protonmail.com. And tell me what's on your mind, amigo, and we can go through it. I have a business to run. I have my health through again, and my podcast, and my friends to meet, and my wife to look after, and my kids to look after, and I have more to be doing than talking to myself. That's not me throwing my toys out of the pram. It's just me saying, good night. Where's my button? And on those final words, good night.